It's your boy ASAP, and today we're gonna give you a crash course on how to read literature like a professor.
Hey, this is Shelby coming at you with our favorite book here, How to Read Literature Like a Professor by Thomas C. Foster.
Let's get right into this crash course. All literature grows out of literature. Every author finds a story they like and wonders what would happen if they flipped it and turned it into something else, but with the same morals. This process is known as literary borrowing.
But you also have to stop and think, will people ever read these books or even know what they are generations from now? That is why authors often copy ideas from fairy tale stories like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella.
The great thing about changing up a story is you get to envision it and show it in a whole new light, adding things and taking things away.
This is what authors do. They read a story and think of a new way to portray it because when you're looking for a book, you don't want the same thing you've read before, but something similar at least.
So when you find a story like this, you start reading it and trying to guess where you've heard that from before. It gets you thinking about past books you've read, and you keep reading it to see the differences and similarities between the two.
This is how they get your attention. They pull on your thoughts and the memories you have of previous books you've read, so you pick up new ones and start reading.
They also do this so when you think of one author, their own name pops up too. This is how they keep themselves relevant and remembered.
One example of this is all the different adaptations of the Cinderella story we can find now. They all have the same morals, but different characters and a different portrayal of it.
Whenever you see these, always ask why. Why would they change it? How is it different? Where have I seen this before? How is it similar and how is it different?
When you find a book that has strangeness and familiarity to it, it flows like a harmony in your brain. It makes you enjoy it even more because you already have something to compare it to.
Hold up.
Man, you should go in here. This place looks cool.
Wow, this looks so awesome.
What is that? Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna eat you!
Throughout all kinds of literature. The most common example of myths in literature are Greek myths.
These myths often have morals behind them. For example, in the story of Icarus, Icarus flew too high towards the sun despite his father's warnings, and then his wings burned off, and that caused him to fall and die. This lesson is to never be too ambitious and avoid risks.
Hold up.
I need these wings, Dad.
Don't worry, I'm making them for you,
I
son.
wanna fly.
Alright, son. I'm making it. Alright. So here are your wings. Just remember, don't go too close to the sun. Alright, here are your wings.
Don't go too close to the sun. What am I, a loser? Wow, this is so much fun. My wings, they're melting. Ah!
The moral of the story of Icarus is often either embedded inside of other stories or pieces of literature or inspired by the myth. The poems Musée des Beaux-Arts by W.H. Auden and Landscape with Fall of Icarus by William Carlos Williams are examples of literature inspired by a painting depicting the events of the myth.
Not only do pieces of literature show the lessons learned from each myth, but the myths are often put inside stories in an updated format.
Myths are a body of story that matters. Myths were created to tell important morals but make it exciting to read.
Don't always give in to myths, though, because they are not always true. Many myths lack a true and good moral. Not all of them always lead you in the right direction.
Myths relate to Greek and Roman myth. Many people think of Greek and Roman myths because that is the origin of many myths we have today.
Myths and literature make literature richer, deeper, and more meaningful. Myths explore creativity and draw imagination into all of their thoughts and words.
Hold up.